Ever wonder what happens when a wannabe cop with a plastic badge tries to bring order to the wild side of Texas? Well, you're about to find out how a nosy HOA president got a life lesson in boundaries from a bull who takes his job a little too seriously. Let me set the stage. My name's Josie Carter. I run Willow Creek Rancha chunk of real working land, 500 acres of peace and pasture, where the only sirens are coyotes howling at the moon. Out here, we don't do block parties, lawn competitions, or color-coded mailboxes. My best friend is a 2,000-pound Hereford bull named Tank. He listens better than any neighbor I've ever had. But a few years back, the empty lot next to my east fence line exploded into a mini suburb called Sunridge Preserve. Cookie-cutter houses, robot-mowed lawns, and an HOA so full of itself it might as well have been a government agency. Leading the charge was Martin Banks, a man whose ego was bigger than his golf cart. Marty, as his followers called him, had a badge from Amazon, a security vest he stenciled himself, and the conviction that my ranch was his personal eyesore. I could see the showdown coming a mile away. Marty would drive his golf cart along my fence, glaring at my cows and the wildflowers I leave for the bees. Sometimes he'd mutter at the feed store about unsightly operations and community harmony. The kicker? He started taping violation notices to my fence, unkempt pasture, livestock noise, environmental hazard, all written in Comic Sans and backed by exactly zero legal authority. So, yeah, I laughed at first. But soon enough, I saw him as more than a pesty was the spark to a powder keg. I called up Sam, my lawyer buddy who knows more about Texas land law than most folks know about barbecue. Sam said, "Josie, you gotta document everything. HOA's got no say, but these guys can get nasty." So I took his advice. Cameras went up. No trespassing signs. Big as life. And right underneath, guard bull on duty, enter at your own risk. Marty, undeterred, started showing up with his sidekick, Glenn, a nervous, skinny guy who looked like he'd get spooked by a mailbox. They'd cruise the boundary, snapping pictures and dictating fake reports into Marty's voice recorder. I started to worry what they might try when I wasn't around. Turns out, I didn't have to wait long to find out. One Tuesday, I had to take my favorite heifer to the vet. The moment I pulled out, I saw Marty's golf cart half hidden in the trees. When I got home, the wire on my back fence was snipped, and there was a muddy trail leading into the pasture. My heart hammered as I followed it. That's when I saw the scene that still makes me laugh out loud. Tank, my bull, was planted like a statue by the water trough, looking downright smug, lying flat in the mud, his orange vest askew and a clipboard broken at his feet. Was Marty. His face was sheet white, except for a big green grass stain on his cheek. And Tank, he had Marty pinned with his massive head, snorting right in his face every time Marty tried to move. Glenn, in a surprise twist, was nowhere to be seen, at least not until I spotted him up in a tree a good 100 yards away, holding onto a branch for dear life. I kid you not. I almost asked him if he needed help getting down. "Get this animal off me," Marty screamed, his voice cracking like a middle schooler's. "I'm an official. This is an attack," Tank answered with another blast of grassy breath. I knelt down, cooed to Tank, and led him away with a handful of sweet feed. But not before giving Marty a look that said, "I told you so." Then I did what any rancher with a sense of justice would do. I took out my phone and started filming. The mud, the ruined vest, the look of defeative's kiss. "You know you're trespassing, right?" I told Marty, keeping my voice cool. "And you damaged my fence. That's a real violation." I made sure to zoom in on the bolt cutters Glenn had dropped when he ran for the trees. Marty, chest heaving, tried to stand up, but he slipped and landed on his backside with a squelch. "You can't record me. This is harassment," He barked. Harassment is what you've been doing for months. I shot back. Here's where the story takes a turn. Instead of running, Marty doubled down, insisting he was performing an environmental inspection for the good of the neighborhood. That's when Glenn, shaking and covered in leaves, finally climbed down and started shouting from a safe distance. It was all his idea. I didn't want to come in. Turns out, Glenn was just as fed up as the rest of us been dragged into Marty's drama. But when the bull charged, all bets were off. The deputies arrived within half an hour. Deputy Rodriguez, a no-nonsense woman with a glare sharp as barbed wire, took one look at the scene and shook her head. Mr. Banks, you're under arrest for criminal trespassing and property damage, she said, snapping handcuffs on him before he could even wipe the mud off his hands. Glenn started apologizing to anyone who'd listen, practically begging to be taken home. When news of the incident hit Sunridge, it was like the neighborhood had been holding its breath. Suddenly, folks started talking about fines for garden gnomes, threats for leaving basketball hoops out, and Marty's late-night patrols. Turns out, Glenn wasn't the only one tired of Marty's tyranny. Within days, Marty was booted as president, and his house quietly went up for sale. Tank became something of a local legend, me, very own four-legged sheriff. Now, when I sit on my porch and watch the sun go down, I think about that day. How something so absurd, a power-hungry man, a panicked sidekick, and a bull with zero patience brought a little justice to the neighborhood. The fence got fixed, Tank got a hero's treat, and peace settled back over Willow Creek. But let's be real. Not everyone agrees on where the line is between protecting a community and plain old bullying. Did Marty deserve what he got? Or did I take it too far by letting nature take the lead? I say, sometimes the best lesson is the one you never see coming. So now it's your turn. What would you have done? Ever seen an HOA president get a taste of their own medicine? Drop your wildest stories and hot takes in the comments. Let's talk justice, boundaries, and whether a good bull is the best security system money can buy.